Hello, my name's Michael Einheuser, and I am the instructor for BA 7070, the section that meets at the Oakland Center on Saturday morning. As I suggested in the email that I sent you, I'm going to be out of the country for a trip that was already long planned before the last-minute change in faculty assignment was made. I don't suppose I'm going to get too many complaints that the class isn't going to meet in person over the Labor Day weekend, but we'll use this videotape as an introduction to the class, what it is that you can expect, and then we will meet together the following Saturday. And of course my expectation is going to be that everyone's going to understand how the course is set up, and we will be out of the tracks running the first time that we get together. So we'll do that. My name's Michael Einheuser. I am an adjunct instructor in the School of Business Administration. I've been teaching this course for about 12 or 15 years, and the course is on business and society, in which we do a couple of things. First, we begin by doing some overviews of concepts and looking at the relationship between business, government, and society, and how those three institutional cohorts interact with each other. We're going to be talking about notions of what it means to be a responsible corporate citizen. And one of the questions that we're going to specifically ask when we get together, and I'd like you to begin to think about it, but it's going to be a recurring theme throughout the course, is this question: Does business have an obligation to do anything other than obey the laws and make a profit? Now, we know lots of businesses do other things. They participate in good works, charitable works, help Habitat for Humanity, support the symphony, support the opera, engage in various good works, and that's all very laudable. Here's my fundamental question: are they obligated to do it? Are there some rules, concepts, or theories that say, yes, you must do this? And we're going to see that there's a school of thought that says the business of business is business, meaning the only thing that business should be doing is providing value to the shareholders, and in doing so, making sure that they follow the law. And we're going to talk about how the law is both public law and private law. Public law are the various statutes and codes that tell us those things we have to do, more often telling us those things we shouldn't do. And when we violate public law, of course, we're subject to public sanctions, fines, in extreme cases, incarceration. But we also are going to be cognizant of private law. And private law says the government is not going to step in and provide sanctions, but private parties can use the mechanism of government and courts to enforce the law, largely in the area of where? Contracts. If I enter into a binding contract with you and you don't honor that contract, the prosecutor isn't going to call on you to say, hey, honor your contract. But though the prosecutor isn't going to call on you, I have the right to go to court and to compel your participation or your observance of your contract. So that if we're going to start talking about the concept of the moral minimum, what is the absolute moral minimum? Well, in simple terms, you have to obey the law and you have to honor your promises. And so that if you're a very conservative, strict market capitalist, when we talk about these notions of responsibility, corporate responsibility, you'll say there is no obligation to do anything other than, number one, make a profit and return value to your shareholders. What happens to a corporation that doesn't do that? What happens to a corporation that doesn't earn a profit and ultimately return value? They suffer a capital punishment. Capital markets are very brutal in their sanctions, and a corporation that operates itself in a way in which it is not profitable not only will die, but if you're a strict believer in market capitalism, you think not only that they will die, but what? They should die. Now, our recent experience where the United States government initially in the closing days of the Bush administration, and certainly in what's happened in the early days of the Obama administration, has sort of turned that concept on its head when they have come up with this concept of too big to die. And we'll be talking an awful lot about that, whether or not the rules of market capitalism essentially had been rewritten, because traditional market capitalists would say you can't make it, you will die, and you should die. But more detail than we need to get into right now. Suffice it to say, what we will be looking at is this notion of corporate responsibility. What is the responsibility of a corporation as a responsible citizen in society? On the one hand, there will be those that say the first obligation is to make a profit, return value to shareholders, and in doing so, its only obligation is to follow the law and keep its promises. Observe both requirements of public law and private law. On the other side of the spectrum, we're going to see people who argue that business existing in society, like individuals existing in society, are parties to a social contract in which there are various rights and obligations between society and business, as there is a social contract with us as individuals and our government. And among those obligations is the obligation to not just make a profit and obey the law, but to give back to society, to be a responsible participant in society through various means. And it will be a recurring theme. Should a corporation do more than merely make a profit, or is it going outside its charter and going outside its field of expertise when it does so?